Before break, I was talking a little bit, Terry, and you mentioned the fact that, enlightening me, that you can't take timeouts with you into half or at the end of the game. And what we saw, maybe on the other side, and it wasn't just maybe, it was poor clock management by the Jets at the end by Robert Saleh.
That's
also
not your
a rookie
concern,
head coach. Some things that we've complained and seen by our head coach, Dan Campbell. But yesterday, stayed out of his own way. What do you make about the way the Jets handled the clock and stuff like this at the end of the game? Because to me, what it's told me is that coaching in the NFL is tough. It gives me back to put these guys through a month of Madden or play calling or whatever like this. But were the recipients of that?
Well, I'm amazed that guys go through their career as players, as assistant coaches, as coordinators, and then as the head coach, they can't manage a clock. I mean, I see fans jumping up and down. Dude, what are you doing? But the guy on the field can't figure it out. And yes, there's a lot of pressure and there's a lot of things going through your head and everything, but clock management should be something that you should have figured out by the time you become a head coach. And if you can't, I think teams should have a guy, a clock management guy. Say, coach, we got 3 timeouts. It's 1:40 left. Maybe you might want to use one, or maybe this isn't the right time to use one. Have a guy right there helping you out.
Well, it's ain't the first time we've talked about it because we've been the guilty party of this.
The Lions have lost a ton of games because the coach has a brain freeze at the end of a game. He either saves timeouts or lets too much time run off the clock, or in the case of a game earlier, when you kick your game-tying or game-winning field goal, make sure that you let the clock run down to 3 and then you kick it. Don't kick the damn thing with 30 seconds left in the game.
It's becoming more of it's not as easy or textbook as anything else. You see all the decisions that have to be made. How many fourth down decisions of short yardage do around the league? It seems like the coaching, the clock, everything else is so more important. I asked you this, so Terry, let me ask you this. Do you see Dan Campbell getting better throughout the season? Is it because he's gotten better, or is it because more or less he's not making the reckless mistake?
Right now, he's not making the reckless mistake. He made a couple earlier in this season. I think Dan Campbell is catching up to his players. I think his players have bailed him out this year, that the play on the field has outdistanced the coaching. But now it seems like Dan Campbell is in a position to make smarter decisions in the last minute of the game.
I guess the question is, Spenny, and where's the confidence level do you have in Dan Campbell as your coach? Because when they were 1-6 or even beginning of the year, we sat right here and talked about, is this the right guy? He might not be the right guy for the job. Have you seen enough growth to continue to go forward? And is it more of the decisions that he's making, or is it just staying out of his own way? Because half the time, isn't that...
All right, here's what we do that's unfair to Dan Campbell.
Okay.
First, second, third quarters, he's making great decisions, but we don't give him credit for that. We only wait until the last 5 minutes that I screwed this up, and it's going to cost them a game. But coaching doesn't start in the fourth quarter. It starts in the first quarter. It starts during the week. And so, for the most part, he has his team prepared. He has his team believing. He has his team motivated. So we should give him credit for that. That's why even at the lowest, my thing is, if you can question his assistant coaches about whether they should keep their job, you should be able to question Dan Campbell. But would I have fired him? No. I want to see this play out, to see what happened with them. So you can't just, I guess you just can't look at a coach his last 5 minutes and determine this is what he is as a coach.
Well, and to that point, Terry, where you mentioned about where the team has bailed him out the play. So when I say that all three fastest special teams, defense, and offense. No, everybody in Allen Park is on the same page. So you know what? Sometimes, and I know this, is that when you have the players that play hard for you and believe in you, is that when you make a coaching decision or something that isn't fortuitous, or maybe it's a screw up, well, as players, when you respect and you're all in it together, you're going to figure out a way to win. That's what we're seeing. We're seeing guys go to it because, I mean, holy cow, how many times did you have your hands on your head yesterday? And you mentioned this earlier on, Terry, is that have we seen this before? You said yes, in a different way, but it wasn't taking care of everything. It was the frustrating part. It was getting down. It was, the penalties here, the penalties there, not being able to run the ball, but then finding a way to win. At the end of the day, you're sitting there, and it was like, to me, it was like, we just won this game that we never ever should have been in.
No, you can't
in the
say
past.
you never ever should have been in that game. That was
No.
That
we
was a
should have
game.
been in that game, but in the past, when it comes down the stretch like that, once the Jets score to
Right.
make it 17-13, you're done.
Yeah, Dan Campbell said that's a game they would have lost earlier this season. He's probably right about that. But you still, in the NFL, you still have a chance to win. That's why there's so many one-score games. When the Jets scored, it was plenty of time left on the clock for you to even get a second possession if you didn't work out the first one. But the thing is, there was a great call by your offensive coordinator. You had them off balance, and because the Lions, in my mind, executed so well, it was messing with the Jets at the end. They're like, oh, what is this? I got to keep my timeouts. I don't know what to do with my timeouts. You put pressure on the other team, and then you just play football. What was one of the things that Dan Campbell said at halftime? His team was playing tight. Just play football. And that's what you have to do. And this is a hard thing. Just play football, but don't make the stupid football mistakes.
Well, how about that, right? Because even at the end of the game, as it came down to, and I didn't have flashes. It didn't feel like it was Justin Tucker from 58 for the field goal. But it goes back to what we say here on Big D Energy all the time. Make plays, right? Make plays at make plays time. And you look at that defense in that last series, whether it was the Kaminsky making a play and a sack, or even was it Jacobs that whoever caught that ball ran him back, like stayed on him, you know, even to the fire drill at the end and stuff like this. So they're doing things. They're playing football. And Terry, sometimes when, like you said that as a professional athlete, when you don't think and you go out and play and react and you trust the guy next to you, I think that chips fall where they may. And they got it done. Kudos for them, because I didn't believe. Did you seriously believe they were going to go down and score and win the game the way that game had gone?
I thought there was a good chance. I believe in the last 5 minutes of a game, it seems like NFL offenses just move up and down the field. So, yeah, they had a chance. I thought they would do it, but the thing I thought that may happen is the Jets would come back and score again themselves. So that was the way I was looking at it. Now, I want to pay tribute for our missing comrade, Neil.
Oh.
Do you know what the most exciting thing about this streak has been? The guys making the plays are paid hourly. They're not making much money. They don't hit you hard on the cap hit. That's the most exciting thing, because these guys are going to be around for a while, and you don't have to pay them for another 4, 5, 6 years in some cases.